Gonna move to open the meeting of the Groveland Conservation Commission on November 14th, 2018 at 7:07 PM. Second,
I'll second
all in favor?
it.
Aye.
Okay. All right, so we have the agenda here before us, and items 1 through 3 are hearings, so we won't do those until 7:30. But we can talk about a few other things. Let's do the minutes first. So these are the minutes from October 10th, our last meeting. Did anybody see any changes or corrections? Nope,
Wasn't there.
you weren't there.
It wasn't there.
So there's only two of you, so there's not gonna, Fred, you're abstaining as well, so I guess you can.
Bill and I. Okay, we can vote on it. Whoever is there is there. So I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from October 10th, 2018 as submitted.
And I will second it.
All in favor? Okay,
And two
Two
abstentions.
abstentions down here.
yes, 2 abstentions. Okay. You'll pass those down too. All right, we got that done. All right, number 4, that Sewell Street Certificate of Compliance request, right?
Yep.
So, according to that, that's for the, work on that retention pond and all the
Correct.
site
Here's
work
the-
around it, right?
Here's the stuff if you want it.
So he filed an as-built plan?
Yep. But I did tell him that you probably wanted to,
Do a site visit?
Yep.
When did they finish the work?
I have not been out there since he filed that, cause I figured you guys wanted to.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if stuff had
He
a
told me
chance
he-
to grow back and all that.
He said he put up the granite markers and, he said everything was fine, so I don't know if it's been, everything has grown back in or not,
Right. We should take a look.
definitely. But that's the as-built plan that he submitted.
Want to take a look at that?
We'll share.
Okay. So that's it.
Did they put in that gravel roadway? I know there was,
Which one?
the one he has marked down here, gravel roadway. I mean, I know there was, from when it was a quarry, there's a lot of
There is,
places
Oh.
to drive kind of thing.
there is
but-
a drive, a gravel road going in now.
But is it new?
I know he added some to it because from the last time I was out there.
Is it
Yeah,
beyond-
that's-
Is it beyond 100
That's
feet?
new. Does he have the 100-foot marked on here?
I don't see it.
Great.
I just, assuming those, I don't know when those were marked last, when those were flagged, the wetlands.
Well, the problem that I have is there were things that weren't done before he even started the work. And we had asked town council for their opinion on what to do about it, and we never got that back. So I think we need to review, before the site visit, we need to perhaps have Rosemary review the orders of condition and determine, make sure we know the status of everything on there, particularly anything that's supposed to be done before he's finished, right?
Yep.
And then we should schedule a site visit, I think.
Can we try and get it before the snow comes?
Yeah, I think that would be good, but
Before Friday?
not
Well-
Friday.
I'm assuming that's gonna melt right away.
Oh, you're an optimist.
Dare the dream.
I can't, you can't really tell by this map how it's different.
And that's, I know the wetlands are down here, but
Yeah.
whether that, I mean, I'd love to see this compared to the original maps that we had where they did the work to,
Right.
just to understand
Right.
what had to change and what he actually did.
Right, we've got those too,
Right.
so.
Do you want me to grab it?
Not now, but I think
Okay.
we'll need them when we go out there.
All right.
So, I don't know, we don't have to schedule a site walk right now, but I think we're gonna have to do a couple other site walks, so we'll just, maybe we can get it all done in one day.
Okay.
Okay.
I have two other certificates of compliance requests that to be signed.
Okay, and,
One for 92 Seven Star Road and one for 7 Pino. 7 Pino was the in-ground pool,
yep,
and 92 Seven Star was the in-law apartment.
Oh,
And they're
yeah.
both done, the grass is in on 92, and everything was done on Pino as well,
what's the address on Pino
7.
7? So you're saying we can
Sign these.
sign those?
Well, I figured it'd make it easy to bring them tonight than
Yeah,
asking you guys to
yeah,
stop
no,
in on.
that's a good idea.
So, since I had them done and they were a request, so I can pass them down if you want them.
And everything's grown in
Yep,
and stable?
yep, on both of them. Actually, she did those last, she came in like right at the end of the year for the, so I went out there twice. Once she didn't finish putting the fence up, and the second time I went back, everything else was done.
It's all done.
Yeah.
You said one was the 7?
No, it's an in-law
Oh, pool.
apartment on 92, and 7 Pino is a pool, in-ground pool. So in the meantime, Mike, I didn't know if you wanted to let everybody know about the property that was recently acquired by the Conservation Commission on Balch.
Yes. I've got that under your update time. So you can give us start your updates.
Okay, so we have a donation of a lot of land on Balch that was given to the Conservation Commission. And John did the research and everything for it, so,
I'll give him.
anyway, it adds to other lots that we have on Balch, so it makes it, we have a lot, there's houses there, but we have this lot, and then we have a lot on the other side, and then out back by, Tilton. So this is part of, just adds to that other lands that we have there, so, which was a nice donation from these people. The other thing is, I've gone and checked on all of the properties to make sure that everything was not work had stopped on the properties that are supposed to be under a seasonal restriction. So everything was, has been done. The only one that's ongoing is 23 Stonebridge, but he's doing work on the inside. He has everything all pretty much sealed up, and the lot is stable right now. So, everything else, Atwood is ongoing. They've laid down, sock on there as well, along the road, and across the street, they have up silt fencing. What else did we go to? We think that was the only other ones that I can think of that have been ongoing. So everything's pretty much wrapped up for this year.
What about the ones on Wood Street
Those
there?
are RDAs.
They're not in, there's
They're
no work?
outside, no.
Yeah, okay.
They're RDAs, they do have their silt down, they have socks down too as well, silt socks down. And the last time I was out there, they were working, they're putting in the septic systems and still working. He had everything up, I walked the site with him, which was a while ago. The builder that's doing the
Yep.
work out there.
How about a certificate of compliance on 40, that Wood Street house, the one furthest down?
He hasn't applied for it yet.
Who's already, because it looks like they already sold it.
He came in and asked me about it, and I told him what he needed to do, and because he asked me about the fence, and the
Yeah.
granite posts are in. He
Yeah.
asked me about the granite posts, and then he asked me about about putting up a fence. And then I told him about certificate of compliance, and I sent him the letter,
Yep.
but I haven't heard.
Okay,
So that one's still out there.
yep. How many other ones do we have outstanding, open orders without a certificate of compliance?
There weren't that many. That one, I can grab the list and see, but yeah, I don't think there were that many, and the ones that I did send out, oh, well, I still have 4 Stonebridges out there still. I haven't heard from her.
I gotta give her a call tomorrow. She
Okay.
called me yesterday, but I haven't been able to get back to her.
I mailed her certificate of compliance, but and I mailed it the same time as the one for Pino, and you
Yeah,
said that she told you she hadn't gotten it.
right, so I dropped another
Yeah.
one off for her.
So, that one, Wood Street. I'm trying to think of what the other one was. I can grab the list and just tell you which other ones I have that
Sure.
are outstanding.
Sure. Does anybody have any old business while we're waiting? Nope. Good. That means we're all caught up and up to date.
There's no activity on the place next to the pub?
No,
Okay, so that stopped for the season?
yeah, they haven't done
Haven't been
any
doing
work
much.
in there in quite a few months.
Right, okay.
Oh, one Apple Blossom.
Oh, yeah,
Haven't heard from him.
yep.
That was the garage, right?
Yep.
That's old, he should be done by now.
Yeah, 352, which is the, and that one's done. That one's 35 Wood Street was the other one. 4 Stonebridge. Pino's done. Oh, 129 King Street, but they're waiting for the lawn to come in. According to the order of conditions, it says that
Yeah.
it has to be in for a year, or one season, I believe it says.
Yeah,
So that's, same with 113 Center Street, they finished the septic systems in and it's good to go, and the same with 206 Center Street.
okay.
But, he wants to wait to make sure that everything is done before he files for the certificate of compliance.
Okay, so, you know, we could have a half dozen more coming in by the springtime, right?
Yep, yeah, but, so they're all just waiting for, you know, the grass to be in and
Yep.
everything to be all set before they decide to issue it, so.
How about, 7 Star Road? I forget the number, 221 or something like that, the DeHulu's house there.
Oh, that one's done,
We
but
did that one.
Yep, yep,
We did a certificate on that one?
I believe so,
Yeah,
yeah,
I-
because it's been sold.
Yeah, right, that's what I thought. I'm just trying to think of all the other ones.
Yeah, so the
And-
other ones that were out there,
That Center Street house.
Sewell Street, 23 Stonebridge is still out there.
Yeah, how about that one way out on Center Street?
Oh, that was a septic system as well.
No,
One
you know the new house?
New house out on Center Street?
Yeah, way at the end. By the same guy that's building the
Oh.
house, built, nothing, so
Nope.
both of those.
Both of those are outstanding.
And both of those are sold.
Yep, 352 Center Street.
Should we do some quick searching, make sure they actually are sold, and then send the new owners,
Yeah,
just to,
Well,
yeah,
that
that's a
you-
good
you-
idea.
this may be a surprise to them, but
Yes,
just to
right.
Well,
clear it
you'd
up.
think that when the title was searched, they would have found that they're still outstanding.
Right, so which means they're gonna be more surprised when they go to sell it.
Right, because it's still outstanding.
still outstanding.
Yeah, so both of those.
Yeah, do,
Same person.
look on the, registry and see if you can see who bought them.
Okay, 352 and, what was it? 352 and the other one's on Wood Street. $35. Okay,
Okay,
yep.
I don't think we had any old business,
No.
and you didn't have any old business, Rosemary, did you?
Nope, that's all I have.
And we still have 5 minutes, open discussion. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank Vanessa Lopez and all the volunteers for the successful 2018 Wine and Art held last Saturday. I think that, I don't have the exact number, but we were able to raise over $8,000 for VZ Park. They were.
That was
I
very
didn't do
nice.
too much, but, so that, I want to thank them publicly. Great job, once again. Any other items anybody has? So regarding that, the property there that we got on the back of Balch, Rosemary and I are gonna take a walk out there sometime soon with the map, just to look it all over. But it's pretty wet, and it's also kinda goes down into a, you know, it's not the greatest area, but I think there could be a trail, because there's quite a few plots now that we've got over there. Could be a trail on the outer perimeter of the thing.
So Mike, is this the one that is older, or the one that John just sent out the
It's
thank
the
you?
most recent one.
Okay.
But we had got that other one at 19
Okay.
last year.
We did get that.
And then we already own 2 others over there.
Okay.
Just have 2 more minutes. What's the date of our next meeting?
December 12th?
12th?
I will not be around, Julie.
Yeah, I think so.
Away for work.
We don't know about any Terry or Heather.
Nope. I sent Heather a email,
Yeah,
but I think it's just because her husband was in the hospital, I don't know.
is he still in?
I think he's home. But she didn't know if she would, that was the last I heard, she was kind of up in the air, but.
I'll try and get a read on Terry.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll move to open the hearing portion of the meeting at 7:30.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right, so I believe we've got 3 hearings, 2 RDAs, and 1 notice of intent. I believe the first one is number 3 for 299 301 Main Street. You're representing that?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to recuse myself on this one and go sit in the audience. So, John's not here to take my place, so Tom, maybe you can do it?
Surprise!
I can't participate because I'm on the Elm Square Committee and I was advised not to participate.
So I'll just give you some
So-
background.
Sure.
So, this is the property, the old gas station.
Yep.
Okay, so they came in, as you know, it's within riverfront area. He came in requesting a, new roof on. So at first, he was filing for a lot of different things, like, cutting down shrubs, doing some other things, and so I told him that anything else outside of the property was going to require a notice of intent, because it is such a, kind of critical piece of property. So he put it down to do just redo the roof, so I told him, fine, then you can just file a RDA. So that's where we're at right now. So this is, I'll let you take a look at it.
So this is from the roofing contractor?
That's the
who's
roofing company,
actually-
yep. I spoke to the roofer, on a couple of occasions. Told him what it would entail. My concerns with the property, because it is such a critical piece of property right there.
What kind of roof?
I haven't had anything specific as to the type of roof that was being put on, but the last time, this letter just came, and I think it's a rolled roof.
Yeah, so he's doing a, if this means something, so it's a flintastic 2-ply roof system. It doesn't require liquid adhesives or chemicals for application. The material is self-adhered. They're gonna put foam on the deck first, secured with screws and plates, and then they put the base sheet on, and then fasteners used to help the base sheet stay secure, and then the cap sheet is applied over that. He also says he's gonna no dumpsters will be on site, everything they take off the roof will be put in dump trucks. and they're gonna park on the right side of the building. I assume he means when you're looking at the building towards the river behind the building. All debris will be removed and placed directly into the truck. No debris will hit the ground. So everybody knows the building, correct? I assume. This looks fairly updated, the picture. So he's intending to do the whole roof of the building?
Yeah, because it's leaking,
It's leaking,
so
okay.
we have to change.
Questions, concerns?
Want me to pass it, do you wanna
Yeah.
take a
No, it's
look,
okay.
or?
No, it's okay.
Okay.
It's, actually, there's a second,
So this time is only for the roof.
right,
Yeah, he knows that if he does any other work, that takes place outside, it's gonna be a notice of intent.
And timing on this?
I believe they wanna do it as soon as possible.
'Cause
Yeah.
it's leaking. Yeah.
and I know, so it's, on the right of the building is all asphalt?
Correct,
There's asphalt in the front?
correct.
Doesn't sound like he's going in the back? or on
No,
the left side?
anything that's towards the back is, I told him, it's much more critical for anything that's off the back.
Where did I put the picture?
Because initially, when he came in, I asked him to fill out the application, and there were other things that he wanted to do, and I said, no, you can't do that. We're
Right.
not filing for a request for determination. Cutting down shrubs, out back, doing any hot top or anything else.
So he's not the owner, right?
Yes, he is the owner. He just bought it.
Oh, but the letter is from the roofer, or is the?
The
roofer-
letter is from the roofer, but there should be an application in there from the property owner.
Right. And you gave him the full, she gave you all the bylaws and everything, so you understand the restrictions?
I think he will.
Yeah.
He really told me like, come here for the roof check.
Right, okay. And we're always here available for questions too. It's a lot easier to ask
Oh,
ahead of
I don't
time.
have any questions.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying in the future, come talk to Rosemary, or just, you can come in during a regular meeting and ask questions if needed before you file anything.
Thank you.
Okay, any questions from anybody else?
What's the owner's name?
I'm probably gonna mispronounce it, Zong Yang?
Yeah.
Zong Yang? Zongyang?
I will write up if you are all in favor, which I don't have a problem with doing the roof, but I just wanna make sure that the letter is very specific in the fact that it just is only for the roof and no other
Right.
work.
We have to be really clear that no, just so you know,
Only for the
without,
roof.
Well,
No other work. Yeah.
do not cut anything down, because that, one, everybody can see what's going on, and then two, it becomes a lot harder once things are cut down. It's not good at that point then, when we have to go after the fact to check in.
Well, there's no tree on the roof.
No, I mean, at least not on the
No,
picture, it
no.
looks good. But if there's any questions when he's, have him call Rosemary,
Okay.
and she can answer any questions and
We
whatnot.
should, do we know what the roof is now? And
I think I'm not sure, when I talked to Sam, building inspector, he thought that it was sort of a tar roof, because when they had said that it was leaking, he said that he didn't have a problem with them going up there to patch it with just tarring it, so I'm assuming it's just a regular, it's not, shingle type of roof.
okay, yeah, no, I guess, are they
Right,
remove-
it's flat, it's a flat roof.
It's a flat roof, yeah.
Right.
Are they removing it, or are they just laying over it?
No, he said they're removing,
Removing the old one.
Okay, so.
and then putting down a new one,
So
right.
what do we have for,
He's
barriers
saying,
behind.
the roofer is saying that anything that's removed is going into the dump
Right.
truck.
Yeah, do you
I
wanna?
understand that, I guess I'm,
Guess we just need to be careful if it's windy out, that nothing, I
Right.
mean, I don't know how much it would
and,
really blow around if it's tar with gravel and whatnot, but,
Well, any pieces, and that's what I explained to the roofer as well, that was our concern, was the fact that anything that they're starting to remove and it's going to be displaced, it's going to blow all over the place and conceivably into the river as well, so.
yeah, they just need to be careful, I don't know how you protect against that, being careful.
I know.
I guess I still think there should be socks. and-
Do you want, you tell me what you want me to put in the letter and I will put it in.
Or I have this, is this what?
I think it's the
Is this
same.
thing?
I think it's the same.
Yeah, I think that letter, or that page is the same.
Yeah, that looks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's the same one we have.
Oh, okay.
Yep, thank you, that one.
I think as a precaution, I know best intentions, not let anything touch the ground, but my guess is they're either throwing it or sliding it in, and
That's true.
so.
That was my initial concern, was the fact that things, if they're not careful, things are going to go all over the place, so.
Do we think a sock will do it, or should we
I don't
do
know,
like a,
that's-
like
I
a snow
need
fence kind
something.
of thing, or just a plastic? Something cheap and easy to put up?
Yeah, I think, just,
It's gonna be more than socks, it's gonna be.
Yeah, right,
a few
socks
pieces.
are
Something,
only,
a couple
socks
of-
are only this high,
Yeah,
they,
those little fences just to keep it from running, finding its way in
like
the
a snow
river.
fence or
Or even, I'd be fine with a,
sill fence?
well, I was gonna say like a plastic, it's fence, but it's plastic.
I know what you mean, yeah, but
No,
isn't that like
but-
the snow fences, that it's like an orange plastic material, the holes are probably like about that big?
Yeah, I was thinking the old ones that, had wood actually on them. I don't think
Oh,
they
okay,
had-
yeah,
But I'm thinking more like just do the plastic, something that's cheap, maybe, what do we think, 3 or 4 feet high? Probably a
yeah,
standard
I'm not even
size.
worried about that height. I'm thinking whatever's going down is going onto the asphalt, and then I'm afraid of washing it,
On the
well,
asphalt side.
we could say that it's, it needs to be cleaned after,
Yeah.
have to be swept up and so that nothing travels.
I think all debris are removed before at the end of each workday.
Okay. Should only be a one-day job. It shouldn't be, you probably know more than I,
For-
but it sounds like it's only a one-day
you know.
job.
Usually, yeah, I mean, demo will be quick, and
Yeah,
then.
And then it's just rolling out the other stuff, right?
Right.
So, all debris,
Everything, basically, anything that's on the ground, if it happens to make it on the ground, is cleaned up at the end of every day. I guess we'll leave it,
what about do you want me to say something about the fencing along the back?
yeah, what do you guys think, like a 3 or 4 foot?
Yeah,
fence?
I'm good with that.
And then, you feel comfortable going out there and just sort of, basically, we just don't want anything going in the river, so.
Correct.
Probably just along the backside,
Yep.
depending on
So,
which way the wind blows.
well, depends.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm thinking if this, that's all, it seems like it's grown up, and I think there's actually used to be a fence there too, a wooden fence.
Last time I was out there, I don't recall seeing a fence there, but there's a
Maybe
lot of
years
shrubs
ago,
and stuff
yeah.
out back, but I don't recall seeing a fence there, but it's been a while since I've been out on that site.
Just whatever we think is necessary to
Street
not go into the back.
Fencing, okay, along the back,
Yeah, towards the riverside.
okay, anything else?
So we have to put a fence for this?
Just something temporary, just like, we're thinking just like a plastic thing that you can just unroll, just in case something starts blowing around, that it doesn't blow off into the river.
So when they do the demolition,
the roof.
ask them to do the fence first?
Right, yeah, just
Correct.
put something up, just in case things are blowing around, that nothing goes into the river.
Put something on the road? Oh,
No,
No, towards
back.
the,
Towards the back of the property.
right, so Rosemary can help, depending on.
Yeah, it
what
would
day
be just
you're
like
in.
plastic sheeting that you'd stake.
And I'll also put in there that
You have to put a post.
they
and
put,
Yeah,
let
just,
me know when you
just
start.
wooden
then- That's a
stakes,
structure,
No,
no.
Just something temporary,
okay.
just like some stakes or something, just to keep, in case things start flying off the roof, if it's windy out that day, we just don't want anything going into the river,
Okay.
just.
So like, we have to go to, where is that plastic, we have to buy plastics? How do you put it fence?
Fencing and yeah, we
it's
can-
just wooden stakes. Wooden stakes go through it, and then it just, use a hammer and put it into the ground. That's it,
For one day,
for one day.
Just while they're doing the work.
Just while they're doing the
Just-
work.
while they are doing the work.
Yep.
Okay.
Right, just because if he's, we don't know what's underneath the roof as he pulls it up, if it's very windy out, the concern if it's insulation or something. Right, and then when he puts foam board on, if not that it flies around.
How high, how tall you have to fence?
3 to 4 feet,
3 or 4 feet,
so
This
about like
one?
that, yep.
yeah,
Okay,
just to keep it out, because you're right on the river there, just to make sure it doesn't go in the river.
okay.
Hopefully it's not a windy day.
Okay. Anything else?
Anything else from anybody?
No, good.
So, wait a minute, how,
Mm.
you said like put the back fence, like on
For the
the,
length of
directly behind the
the length of
property?
the building?
Right, we're thinking, I mean, looking at the picture here, probably just around the bank on the back. But I think probably the best thing to do is, before he starts the work.
Here? Oh, this
Re-
is a fence here.
No, that I think is probably just shrubs and trees. Years ago, there was a fence there, I'm not sure if
There's
it's
a
there
fence
anymore.
There's a fence there,
There's- So
So-
probably just over here.
over here.
Yeah, because the
Okay.
river's right back here, and we just
So
don't want
We
anything.
don't need to put it here. we
No,
put
no,
it
not,
here.
not behind the post office.
Oh, okay. Here, put the fence.
Right.
I don't
And-
know, I don't even know whether we're allowed in the back or not. There's no door. Oh, we can go
Yeah,
this
you
way,
can walk
go
around
this
that way, right, yeah. And
This is
it's just temporary. It's only just to, in case, as they're ripping it up, if things come flying off, that it doesn't blow into the river.
Okay, okay. Makes sense.
And then when the work is all done and they're done with the real roof and everything's cleaned up, then the fence can come down.
Okay, all
Um,
right, just plastic.
Yeah, maybe have the roofer give Rosemary a call and just to, she can describe, further if
Okay, we'll do
you.
that. The roofer probably won't do that. We'll do that
Okay,
before, make sure.
right,
I don't know what the roofer will do that. That's not his job. His job is doing part of these.
okay.
Yeah. Okay, I'll ask my husband.
Yep,
He can come.
okay, yep,
Your phone number?
yep, he has it,
Yeah.
yep.
Okay. So it's like big plastic sheets covered.
But it's a fence, so it's,
I know, like you do a post and then
Right.
take the nail those
right,
plastic, put it on the post. That's
right.
it. Okay,
Now, different than plastic, if you were gonna cover it up to make sure no rain gets to it. Like it'll have, it's fencing material, but it's just plastic,
okay,
yeah. We just want something to catch anything that's coming off the roof. So nothing fancy and just something temporary and easy and cheap and quick to put up.
okay.
Just so it doesn't go in the river, because right down here, the bank's really steep, and anything that goes over the edge is just gonna go right in the river then.
I understand, yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Can you write down the materials name?
I'll put everything in a letter, I'll put everything in the letter
So that we know.
once they make a decision,
Yeah.
Yep.
yep.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay, I'm gonna mess this up because it's an RDA. So I make a motion that there is no, what do you call it?
It's negative,
It's a negative determination
right, with
Uh,
these conditions.
with the conditions that we discussed with Rosemary. She'll put in the letter, the fencing in the back, that everything gets picked up at the end of every day, off the ground, that the roofer is directly disposing of everything into, his dump truck on the side of the building, and he's not driving on the ground behind the building and not disturbing the ground. Absolutely no tree cutting or brush cutting or anything like that, and no disturbance to the ground. Rosemary will have that all in the letter. Anybody want a second?
I will second.
We'll take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
So it's approved, but we
Yes.
have to do that.
But, right, and I have to write up the letter first before you can do any work,
Okay,
because that's gonna outline everything that you're supposed to do
okay,
within the letter.
so it will
Okay.
be next week?
Probably, but they have to, I have to have them sign it as well, so,
As soon as she gets it, she'll send out an email. We come down and sign everything. It goes pretty
Is
quick.
that how long is that going to be good for? Maybe the weather will be, at that time, too cold, we have to wait a couple months, is that okay?
yep.
I- Yeah, if it's leaking, I'm assuming you want to do it quickly.
But they say like the temperature have to be about 50 or something.
Oh, to put the,
Okay, in order to
What's-
put
because the
what's-
fabric
something on it.
probably needs to be,
He told me 40,
okay.
the building inspector. What's your opinion?
No, I know it
You
has
do
to, because
construction?
it has to be pliable.
Right.
to-
He told me 40, as long as it was above 40. That's what Sam said, because I asked him what the temperature was.
Right.
If there was a problem,
They
you know,
and
putting,
they probably have heat, they put heaters to,
oh,
you know,
okay,
bend around corners and things like that. But
Yep.
in general, to lay the stuff out, it needs to be warm enough that it's pliable,
okay.
so.
So basically, when you get the letter, you're free to do it,
But we can wait a couple months until
I-
temperature gets.
if needed, yeah.
Okay,
We just, the big thing is, we don't want to, once you start, finish it. Yeah, we don't want stuff flowing around or anything like that.
Okay.
That's our
Yep,
biggest
one
concern.
day. Should be done in one day,
I think it- yeah, day or two.
right?
I would think, most of the times.
Okay, so.
And in the future, like, if there's anything else you want to do, please come to us,
okay.
and we'll talk about it, and then see if you have to file, depending on what it is.
So maybe you take 2 days, hopefully you will see. That one day to demolish the old one, Monday to put on the new one.
It's not that big, it shouldn't take more than one day.
Yeah.
They should be able to do it all in
But-
one day. I can do a whole.
But I mean, if he doesn't finish, he can finish it the next day. It's not like that. We just don't want it ripped apart and then stuff flying around there for weeks at a time. That's the concern. Because everything goes in the river right away there.
Right,
So,
all right, all right, I think I have
I think
everything.
we're set.
Yep,
Thank you very much. So she'll mail it out to you once it's written up, and then we sign it all. And then she'll mail it out to you, and then you're good to go from that point on.
So,
Thank you.
just
You're
make a
welcome.
note in the minutes that I came back.
no driving around building, no material removed, no material on the ground.
Okay,
4-foot fence
the next hearing is for,
along the back. Yep,
157 Main Street, notice of intent, Groveland notice of intent.
oh, thanks. Yep, thank you. Yep, I can email to you and just
Yep,
see if you think of something, or you want me to
Designer
pass
of the
it.
project,
Probably be easier.
the Billis family, who owns the property. With me is Patrick Seacamp with the delineations, and the owners are, asking somebody over there. Jim Billis and his family. What we're proposing is a 7-lot subdivision. There'll be 7 new lots on a total of 11.7 acres of land. We have to create an 820-foot new roadway called Billis Way to access the 7 lots. And there'll be 2 lots on Main Street, which are Form A lots, which are approved under different categories in that part of the subdivision. So the 7 lots will be accessed by this new roadway. We'll have town water, town sewer, and underground electric, and public gas as well. So all the services will come to the roadway. The property is at 157 Main Street, which is the intersection of Broad Street and Main Street. To the west of the property is the Riverside Cemetery, and then to the northwest east of the property is Cranston Ave, and all the house lots along Cranston Ave. Wetlands is essentially on the northeast boundary line of the property, and only 2 of the lots and 1 of the houses is in the buffer zone. And there is a stream that also flows through the wetlands. There's a river, perennial stream which has a riverfront area. I'm going to flip it over to basically show this section of the project, which is where the wetlands are and where the impacts are. The whole front of the lot, 5 of the lots and the front do not have any wetlands associated with them. So this is the end of the cul-de-sac, located here, and the wetlands are located down along the northeast side of the property. We have a flag A1 to A, I believe it was 24. And then the stream is located inside the wetlands in the stream bank. So we have a 100-foot buffer zone delineated, which is a dashed line approximately on the plan. The roadway is entirely outside of the 100-foot buffer zone. We have lot 5, lot 4, and parcel B, which has a drainage basin on it, which is located, part of those lots are located within the 100-foot buffer zone. The total disturbance on lot 4 in the buffer zone is 880 square feet, and the total disturbance in the buffer zone for the drainage empty pond is 2,300 square feet, over approximately 3,200 in the buffer zone. The river fund has also been identified, 200-foot river fund is a solid line, and 100-foot actually falls inside the buffer zone, so it's on the other side of the we have approximately 251,000 square feet of riverfront area on the property, so 10% of that would be 25,000 and some change, and we are proposing to do 8.9% or 24,000 square feet of work inside the riverfront. Majority of that is for the detention pond, which is located in this area. That's the mitigate drainage runoff from the roadway. All the runoff from the roadway from the front to the back and is treated catch basins for storm system, proprietary treatment, remove additional solids and oil and greases, and then go into a 7-4-bay, and ultimately discharge it to an outlet structure, the upland area, and then travel approximately 100 feet to the wetlands area. So it's 100 feet of travel through natural vegetation before it gets to the wetland itself. All this removes approximately 89% of the total finished solids and mitigates for the 2, 10, 25, and 100-year storm events. So there's no additional runoff going to the wetlands or to the off-site. So like I said, the work is limited to about 3,200 square feet of area in the buffer zone and 8.9% of the riverfront area, which actually, if we don't count the detention area drainage mitigation, which is technically not required to be counted, we'd actually have significantly less, about half that, so we'd have to be down around 12,000 versus 24. If you don't count take the credit for the drainage, not counting towards the riverfront area disturbance. Driveways for lot 3 in the house are outside of the buffer zone, outside of the riverfront. Again, just a small portion of the grading for lot 4 is in the buffer zone, and then a small portion of lot 5 and lot 4 are in the riverfront area. I think that's pretty much an overview of the project. Any questions?
The NOI is for those particular lots right there.
200 foot.
So the lot 4, lot 5, and
The
The
Detention
retention
area.
pond,
Yeah,
okay.
for the roadway itself.
So I don't know if you want to have them individual, which is what we talked about the last time.
Yeah, I don't know what you guys think about that, like
What's that?
having it individually to the lot, because we've run into this before where we have it for either the whole project or a larger project, and then things happen, and then,
Well,
you know, individual homeowners are like, oh, it's not my problem, or, you know, then it gets all messy then.
we can issue individual orders of condition. We don't have to issue one order. We can issue 3 orders, 4 orders, whatever we want.
The retention pond, where does the ownership go with that eventually?
Basically, the town. The town's gonna, parcel B is gonna be donated to the town. I think the conservation, or not the conservation, the water department's gonna receive that property. And then there's an easement on that, so the town can maintain it. So ultimately, when the road is accepted by the town as a public way, the drainage becomes part of the town, requirement to maintain it, so.
Right.
So we, it actually be located on town property.
Eventually.
Owned by the water department, and then the roadway itself is owned by the town, it's accepted.
May I ask a point of order? I know this is a hearing, so I just want to get clarification. You guys are discussing, we can't always hear because you're not using the microphone, but I'm just wondering, is there a point at which someone like me could ask a question or not
Oh,
in this hearing?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
most,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you'll let us know?
Yeah,
Why aren't the mics on?
these
Yeah.
mics are not for the room. These are for
Oh,
the
the
TV.
Uh,
We'll try to talk louder.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
Your seats up front, yeah, the middle front.
So-
Good view.
So my preference would then be to probably break it into 3, so you have each individual lot.
Yeah,
The point is to make sure all the work, you know, if there's an issue with something, we're not holding anything else up that goes with that particular lot. Parcel B, I'm a little bit, I mean, it's not gonna belong to the town right away, so I guess that, but just having it separate, it would go with the developer for now.
well, we could do
Okay, so-
3. We could do Lot 4, Lot 5, and the whole
Parcel.
subdevelopment.
Or something like, something like that,
Yeah.
just to,
The entire roadway and the drainage all has to be constructed prior to any construction on any of the lots, so
right.
they have to bring up the binder, which is the first course of pavement, have the, and the sidewalk in, and basically the drainage all done, and all utilities have to be in before they get any sign-offs or any permits, other than the first 2 lots, which are on Main Street, which
Oh,
are 4
right.
lots, which aren't part of the subdivision.
Okay, so we'll reserve that option to do that separately. So what exactly is in the 100-foot buffer?
It's in, okay. There's 880 square feet right here on lot 4. At the back of lot 4 is just some grading, just to make a little backyard for them.
So it's just grading.
Yep, the grading on lot 4. And similarly, it's about 2,300 square feet of grading for the pond, right in this area. The state hay bales or the erosion control will be the limit of work, so there'll be no work beyond these hay bales, which are shown on the plan. That's the limit of the grading. The
In
pond
lot-
ultimately will have a fence around it as well.
In Lot 5, just
Lot
grading?
5 is just in the, it's the riverfront area only.
No,
not the buffer zone. And that's
no
just-
work in the 100-foot
No
buffer.
work in the
right?
100 buffer, but there's work in the riverfront. So,
Is that just for grading?
for grading,
or-
yeah, as well.
That's good to go to the grading between lot 4 and 5?
Yeah, between lot 4 and 5, a little bit for the lot 5 that has a backyard, do a little bit of grading on it, level it out a little bit.
So, they have silt sock listed, are we fine with the silt sock?
I'm showing, yep, I'm showing silk sock, 12-inch diameter. It's about 525 linear feet. It's the dashed line right at the limit of work, which is follows the back of the grading of all the 3 lots, including the parcel B, parcel 4 and parcel B.
Rosemary, do you have that letter that we wrote comments on based on the RDA filing?
So I know we asked them to move the house, and I think they did. So we never talked about markers or any type of.
Well, no, but we had comments on the wetland delineation, I believe, and also the riverfront issue.
Can I ask you a question?
Kind of like that.
Can I ask you a question?
Do we,
We'll do audience questions in a few minutes.
Oh, you let us know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
What happened?
it's on the last page.
Okay. So I want to know how you address these items that we put in a letter dated December 19th, 2016.
Well, I know they did one because it wasn't addressed as a perennial stream on the original file.
Yes,
Yeah, so we.
So they
we
did
agreed
take
that
that,
it
they
was
did change that.
yes,
We
okay.
ran this, changed that verification of the stream itself, and it does come out to be perennial, so.
Yeah.
definitely,
I don't remember what the other things were.
Didn't we have problem with some of the placement of the flags?
I think there was a question with a couple of them when we
Mhm.
walked it, but I think that can be addressed when you do a site walk.
Okay,
I think it was the ones that were farther down. I think
yeah.
The other ones were fine. I think it was the ones that were way down.
It just talks about flags A1 to A23 here.
Okay.
It's the next one. 24's offsite, actually.
That's all the flags, Mike?
Yeah, no, but that's what I don't understand. We didn't put in here anything regarding the flags we had trouble with.
Oh,
We can take a look at them at the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Certainly try to.
I think it can be addressed then. I think there was a couple that were down farther than,
So you didn't change any of the wetland delineation from the RDA filing?
No.
Okay,
with the exception of the perennial stream.
yes, all right, but nothing to do with the wetland buffer, the wetland delineation. Okay, and the location of the detention basin may be better situated on the lot designated as 3, and as such would no longer require a notice of intent filing for Lot B. So you decided not to do that, I'm assuming.
Yeah, basically because of the grading required to get the water to flow downhill, basically.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get it to flow to a low spot. And I think DEP recognizes that, which is why they basically exempt the drainage structures from the Riverfront Act.
Yep.
Which is, because you have to put the development, so.
And the last one is regarding lots 4 and 5, within close proximity to the 100-foot buffer, prohibiting further use of the back of the property for the use of the residents. So,
They have it marked out, they're asking for a post and rail fence with conservation restriction signs
Yeah, we'll show that on
in
the
the plans.
oh, okay.
Because I think you moved,
That's, so
Either-
that's what you're doing to
Yeah.
mitigate being so close. They're gonna understand that they don't have, they can't use that property other than obviously walking on it, but they can't put a swimming pool back there or something else, even though it's a large. That's a new idea. Okay. So other than the flags, which we'll review at a site visit, it seems that these things have been addressed for the most part. Okay, does the commission have any other questions? Okay,
We're gonna
Yeah.
go through the details of each order for each lot at some point, right?
yeah, but I think we're gonna have to continue it, because I'd like to
Right.
do a site visit.
Right, so.
So we don't have to do that tonight.
Right, yep.
Okay, so we'll now ask for public comment. So if you're gonna give public comment, please stand up and at least give us your name and address so we can make sure we get it in the minutes.
I am Joan Searle. I live at 33 7 Star Road in Groveland, and my cousin Barbara Visit asked me to come down here. She lives at 14 Cranton Avenue, and she is worried about the brook behind her house. How is this going to affect her babbling brook?
Yes. This is, so she lives on the other side of that brook.
She sent me here for nothing?
No. You can,
14 Cranton Avenue, where is it?
you can see the name, Mike, it's right at the intersection of
This is ours.
parcel B and lot 4.
This is ours. So this doesn't affect her at all?
It should not.
No. So I can call her back in North Carolina and say nothing's going in her brook?
No.
Do not worry.
And we have no work in the buffer zone, no work in the wetlands, no work in the, it shouldn't, no work in the wetlands, no work in the street.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes,
Do you wanna go? No, that's okay. I'm Kathy Castronellis, 12 Hillview Drive. My concern is, and I wasn't able to see these plans before tonight, but I did see them the first time that they were put out there. And I believe when the road was first laid in order to, I may be saying it wrong, they swung it so that it was almost kitty corner to the cemetery line. I'm just wondering if that's been addressed or mitigated?
Yep, we actually, you're talking about this pinch point up in here where the corner of the lot is, it was actually closer to that, we moved a little bit away from that, and twisted it so that it was be away from the cemetery. We gave them like 30 or 40 feet for the difference.
So there's
So
30,
it stayed
40
the same as what we proposed during the.
Okay, so there's a buffer line of trees 30 to 40 feet all the way down between the cemetery and the road?
Except for right in this area right here where the cul-de-sac is, where there's a wall over it, we're gonna plant some trees up on top of that.
You can come see the plans. They're listing 75 feet of linear feet of evergreen hedge right on the corner where the cul-de-sac
Okay,
gets
and then
closest.
that, is that land that cast, they can't take those trees down or not?
It's gonna be part of the right of way, so, yeah, part of the town's property, needs to be developed up the road. Once they're planted, it'll be part of the
So
town.
the town will own that tree line
Yep.
and be responsible for that tree line?
Mhm.
So why is the water department taking the retention on that? I don't get that.
It's just it's a parcel that is largely in the riverfront area and largely in the buffer zone, so we're not able to develop it, so it's about, I think it's like 3.5 acres or 4 acres, somewhere in that range. And the water department owns behind us right now, so they'd like to own that as well, just to out of town land.
So we would have to vote that at town meeting that.
I believe they have to accept it, selectmen have to agree to accept it, yes, and then go to the town meeting.
So this couldn't be approved until we vote to accept it at town meeting?
Well, this can be approved, whether or not it goes to the town is up to the town. We're offering to the town, whether they take it, they don't take it, then it remains part of the village land and they can do what they want.
Well, it's the retention pond, right? Somebody has to be responsible for it. Didn't you just ask them who was responsible for the retention pond?
There's
So-
an easement on the lot, on lot B, there's an easement, drainage easement for the retention pond. So if the town doesn't take it, whoever owns it, it's still an easement for the town to maintain it.
So if the town doesn't take it, who would maintain it?
The town still maintains it, but there's an easement to allow them to do that.
Even if we don't take the land, we have to maintain it?
Yeah, the town,
Okay, okay.
Kathy, the town,
So I don't get why you're donating it to the water department instead of the town then, if we're taking care of it anyway.
I think the water department wants it because they own abutting land behind there to the
Yeah.
river. That's the first I've heard of it, but kind of
Yeah, me too. I
makes
just
sense, I
wondered
guess, but,
experience, so.
It could go to the town, I mean, it could be just in the town's general ownership. I mean, I believe that the water department did express an interest in
yeah.
retaining it, so.
Okay, so would you say, I mean, you've seen the plans more than I have, trust you guys. Would you say then that, the cemetery is going to be putting up a fence, you know, a wrought iron fence as part of their preservation? Then there's gonna be a nice tree line, that's all gonna be kept, that's not gonna be clear cut or disturbed, they're gonna be able to follow through on that plan? And
It was
we're
worked
com-
out with the cemetery during the definitive stage. It actually was, the attorneys for the client, you know,
I heard about the
went,
meetings,
went to the meetings with the cemetery and
a little bit.
worked out an agreement with
Well,
some fencing and shrubs and.
the agreement wasn't really,
We moved up-
I'm not
moved
gonna
up a little
comment. We talked to the cemetery commissioners about that.
So there's 310 linear feet of fencing, right? Where does that go, Bill?
So it goes down the street towards Maine?
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
it
that
goes-
way, I see.
There's a small parcel actually given to the cemetery as well. It's, located right here, it's a triangle piece.
Okay,
It's, they wanted another access, so we're gonna actually create a driveway access off this roadway to the cemetery, to one of their cemetery streets.
I see, yeah.
Tie in, so they can get, their issue right now is the main gate, it's difficult to get large vehicles through it.
Yep.
Some vehicles can work on the cemetery, so by having this access, they can get larger vehicles into the actual cemetery to work on it.
Is that parcel A?
Yes, possibly, yeah.
Okay.
About a third of an acre, quarter of an acre.
Hmm.
And that's gonna be gated.
Oh, yeah.
Yours is fenced, you can have a gate on it.
Yeah. That doesn't really come under our jurisdiction.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Any other question?
I'm sure you want it under the 12 print there, next to Barbara. In my backyard, I can see where all the stakes are, where the stream is. How far from those stakes is gonna be the backyard of these properties?
For the most part, over 100 feet, because this is the 100-foot line. You know, it's markers you're seeing, these are the little markers you're seeing, the little.
So my house is number 12 right now,
Like, see?
inspiration.
Okay, all right.
So right there,
Yeah.
so
So you're seeing
this-
these, and this is 100 feet.
that's where the house is gonna be?
No, this is the house, so this is 200
So
feet.
there'll be some of the trees will still be there?
A lot of the trees will be there.
Okay, so that's, where I see the stake, there's all trees.
Right. This is the limit of work right here, we're not going to go further beyond that, and the trees cut down, and then grading down beyond this line. So
Okay,
approximately 100 feet.
thank you.
Oh, Peter, I did have one follow-up
Yep.
question. You mentioned the agreement that you reached, or that you reached with the cemetery commissioners. Weren't they supposed to mark some of the trees that you're not supposed to touch?
Yes, along this line over here, with the cemetery.
So you're still planning to let them do that?
I believe so, yes, that's part of the agreement. I'm not sure which trees they're gonna mark, there's certain trees that are
I know, there's,
undesirable.
right, there was the
There are
undesirable
some
ones, and
with
then there
good
was the
stuff.
ones that they wanted to keep, yep, that's right.
That's, again, it's not in the jurisdiction of this commission, but it's outside along the boundary of the National Cemetery.
But is that in an agreement somewhere? It's not under your jurisdiction, right? You guys know?
No.
I understand it is, yes. I wasn't involved with the actual,
No, but I mean,
agreement, but
whose
lawyers-
agreement is it in? Where is this in the agreement?
It's, I think it's with the planning board, they actually filed with the planning board.
Oh, okay, so it's with the planning board?
That's
Yeah.
part of the approval of the process for the definitive
Okay.
subdivision.
Okay, so site visit.
Were there any other?
I don't think so. No other questions? Okay.
I have a question on
Yeah.
the stockpile. You have, it looks like you have three locations. One is far away, one looks elevation-wise like it's flowing down towards Main Street. You have one up on the top of lot 3, and it looks like you're marking silt fence around that. I'm just wondering, is that needed, just from is there a better place to put it? I'm assuming you looked around and couldn't find a better place.
Well, yeah, it'll be interesting because it degrades to here. We can put it in the front like here, possibly. But if that's outside of, I think it's outside of everything.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, just because of the way the elevations, if things start going bad, it's all just coming straight down the hill. I mean, I guess, it's just something to watch. We had an issue once at another place on, the one off of Center Street, Mike.
Yeah, Center Place.
We do
Center
have,
Place.
we do have to file it for a,
Stormwater management.
well, stormwater management plan is all set. We have an operation maintenance plan. We have to file for a NIP,
NIPD's.
permit.
Yep.
So we have to do a SWIP,
Okay, yeah.
which we
All
have
these
already
acronyms.
generated. We have to file that with the EPA. And I believe they will hire a consultant, most likely probably Pat, to monitor the site during storm events.
So,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
yes,
it's a rare night that I actually get to come out and just sit and not say anything. So I did do the wetland delineation.
yes.
And I'd be looking forward to walking it with the commission, and I can explain I can't speak specifically to individual flags till we get out there.
Yeah, sure, I understand.
I actually have a lot of experience with this system, because I did, I'm not sure who in the audience, but years ago I did several lots on Cranston as well, delineated the wetlands on the other side of the stream for, individual house lot filings years ago. I can't remember which they were,
Mm-hmm.
but it's pretty steep and sized stream, perennial stream within the landscape, so.
Okay, so, commissioners, if you recall, according to our bylaw, we have the right to hire our own consultant, and the developers get to pay for it. So do we feel that's necessary in this case?
Do you wanna look at first and then
Yeah, I don't. Personally, I think sometimes we've done it where we've had questions along the wetlands to make sure we get that right.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's probably a little more straightforward, but I think when we get out there, we'll have a better idea if there's any concerns on our part regarding that.
Yes, but, better off that we kind of give the applicant some direction, if we're heading in that direction or not. Let's see, trying to think the last time that we required this was on Sewell Street.
I think we've done
Far more
Sewell,
complicated case there.
and we did in the back of King Street when there was a large lot, because it was a complicated wetland.
Oh, yeah,
And then we did,
Center Place and,
the house lot right up.
one individual house.
No, didn't we do the one, Marion Ave? Did we do that?
Oh, yeah, Marion Ave, yeah. We've done it quite a bit on developments. This is it's good-sized development for us. So, and there's a lot of wetland issues, so we could potentially do that.
I'd be in favor of that.
Hmm.
I'd be in favor of that.
You are in favor of it, okay. What do you think, Rosemary?
with regard to,
asking for an outside
Yeah.
consultant.
hiring a outside consultant regarding the wetland delineation and the
I don't have a
riverfront
problem with that.
issues.
If you think
Hmm.
it's, I don't have a problem with that, if you
Yeah.
think it's something that's needed.
Yeah,
I mean, I do think this is a little bit, I mean, I understand the complication of it, but I think, I mean, as far as where the wetlands are, it's not, it's a little bit more straightforward because you have the stream there.
Yes.
And it's not like there's a lot of different types of wetlands. I mean, it's, I think this one is a little bit more straightforward
think
than
it's
some of
a-
the other ones that are going to be coming in.
Yeah, but I think for myself, because it cuts across multiple
Yep.
lots.
Yep.
And that may help our separate order of conditions when we.
yeah.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
if you're unfamiliar with the wetland out here, it's a, as I think Rosemary described it, it's very straightforward in terms of, this is a extremely incised channel, so the wetlands are, there's not a lot of lateral room that they even could go because of the steep bank along the brook, if you will. And so, is it possible that the commission could see this first and then make the decision on whether or not you feel that it merits an independent review? Because I think even Rosemary and I could go out and work out the wetland issues on this site relatively quickly without, I think, a lot of extraneous discussion about, we don't have broad, slopes that might be like questionable areas out here. It's pretty specifically defined.
I think if you walk this, I mean, I know what you want to make sure that they're aware in case the consultant is, but my suggestion would be to go out and take a look at it and see, and then go from there and see
Mhm.
whether or not you think that,
well, I mean, that's gonna, doing that is got to be agreed to by the applicant, that we are postponing our decision to hire a consultant. As long as you're okay with that, then we can potentially postpone it until after our site visit.
When is the site walk? Do you have
We haven't
idea?
picked a date yet.
well, you wanna continue the hearing until you do the
Yeah, I
site
mean,
visit
we're not gonna
anyway.
close the hearing tonight anyway, but,
So, yeah, right, you weren't gonna close
but,
it tonight
you know,
anyway.
I'd prefer, just for fairness, to make that decision sooner than later, rather than we get all the way to the end, we say, no, wait, we wanna hire a consultant now. you
I
know,
understand.
But,
Yeah, I'm just trying to see if the sidewalk's gonna be soon,
yeah,
then we could decide the sidewalk. Okay?
Right.
And we can decide the sidewalk.
the,
We can agree to it then.
yeah, we won't be able to because it's, without a posted meeting, we can't make that kind of decision. So we won't be able to decide it until our next meeting, December 12th. But it would be my goal to have the site visit before December 12th so that we can make that decision or continue and potentially close things out on December 12th. So I guess that's up to you or the applicant.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes,
Is it possible to assign, an idea, vote to go with a independent consultant, but then once you see these wetlands out in the field at the site walk, make a decision at the next hearing that may not be necessary if the commission feels comfortable with the wetland line? So
Yeah.
that we're not losing the timeframe to get the independent consultant on board
Yeah.
if they are needed?
yep,
Can we do it that way, or? does
yeah,
it make
that
sense?
would be all right. That makes sense.
So we could decide then at the site walk if we wanna get a hold of somebody and
Well, we can't, but again, because, we can't make a decision at the site walk. But we can decide tonight to pursue it, and Rosemary and I can pursue getting someone lined up, so that if we, you know, we don't have to wait another meeting before we'd have somebody.
Right.
Yeah, because the site walk is a fact-finding mission, so it's the
Right.
ability for the commission to get all the issues and see them firsthand. It's hard to describe this area on paper. It's a lot more descriptive when you're out there and you can actually see what I was trying to describe. So.
I'd be more comfortable doing that. I mean, I think we need to leave the option open, but we should take a look first before we make a decision, I think.
So in the time, in order to preserve the timing, we'll make a motion tonight to hire a consultant paid for by the applicant, pursue that, and then, based on our site visit on December 12th at our next meeting, we can decide either to, you know, actually go forward with that or not. Does that sound like a plan?
That would work for me.
Yep.
So,
All right.
does that, does the
So you
applicant?
just have to schedule a site visit.
All right.
Yeah, well, okay, so let's vote on that. So, Tom, why don't you make that motion to hire a consultant based on the, hire a consultant to be paid for by the applicant and to pursue
will.
somebody.
I want to see if there's going to be a question first. Is that clear, or are there any questions, or are you guys good? Okay, yep, so I make a motion that we plan to hire a consultant at the applicant's expense pending our site walk. So we'll start that in motion, and then once we have the site walk, we will then make a decision at our December meeting whether we actually move forward with that outside consultant and have them actually do
Yeah.
more work.
That's our plan, but really the motion just needs to be to hire a consultant, and we'll move on that.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion on that? Okay, all in favor,
Aye.
Aye.
opposed, abstained, okay, that's unanimous. Okay, so now let's schedule the site visit if we can. All right, let's see. Saturdays. This Saturday, the Saturday after Thanksgiving, the 1st and the 8th. Those are the dates. There's 4 Saturdays between now and the 12th. Anybody need to eliminate any of those? I can't do the 8th.
I will be gone the 1st, the 8th, and the following Saturday I'm away for work,
Okay, so you won't be here the 1st and the 8th.
and the 15th.
Okay, yeah, but that's afterwards, so.
All right, all right.
Can anybody do it this Saturday?
The Saturday after Thanksgiving is not good for either one of us.
Okay, so can anybody do it this Saturday?
I can do it this
I
Saturday.
can do Saturday, this Saturday.
This Saturday,
How about
okay.
you, Fred? Are you? Fred's
You,
in.
you can do this Saturday?
Okay.
All right, so that's November 17th.
And hopefully the 1 inch of snow will be nice and melted by then.
Yeah, right, I know.
I hope it's just.
Or it'll be wet and slippery. What time, Mike?
All right. Now, we've got a couple of other site visits we might be doing that time, so I think we better make it as early as we can stand, like 8 o'clock or something like that.
6:50.
6:15, yeah, sunrise.
How does 8 o'clock work for you guys?
Fine with me.
Okay.
8 AM. Okay, and we'll meet at the site, right? Do you want to allow the public to come or only commissioners?
You have a problem with the others?
Okay, so any abutters on the 157 Main Street project, if you want to come to the site walk, it's 8 AM. We'll be meeting at 157 Main Street. You're welcome. Okay. So, I think we're all set until the 12th, right? Nothing else?
Yep.
All right, so I'll move to continue this hearing to December 12th. Second, all in favor?
Aye. That's it.
We got all of them tonight, huh?
Thank you.
Okay. Want to open up to the, this one. This one's a good one. It's got the wetlands on it.
Public drinking water.
Okay, so the next hearing is for 733 Salem Street. And this is a request for determination of applicability under the Wetland Protection Act and also under the Groveland Bylaw. So, Roseanne, what is this filing for?
What do you mean?
What is it for? What's an RDA for? They
It's
want to know
for,
what?
they're asking for a preliminary subdivision proposal.
Okay, but whether or not they should file for a notice of intent or not, or?
I can-
I'll let Bill answer that.
All right,
Obviously, they will be filing for a notice of
Yeah.
intent, but
all right, so tell us, Bill, why you're filing an RDA here.
Okay. Well, William Holt from designing engineer for the project, to the Hulus, Steve and Nina are present, the owner, and Pat Seacamp did the wetland delineation at this particular site. The reason we're here essentially is we filed a preliminary subdivision plan with the planning board, and that's part of their requirements. They require us to file with the conservation. Since it's a preliminary plan, we're not far enough along to file a notice of intent at this point. So we filed an RDA basically to introduce the project to the commission and try to get some feedback preliminarily so we can advance our design to the definitive stage. So with Mr. try to explain the whole project to you, and then we'll hone in on the actual areas where the wetlands are, which is actually off of Washington Street. The whole project is 8.6 acres. It was the old church property that was right across from the function hall on Salem Street. It was actually a parking lot that the church used, located right here, off of Salem Street. And the property goes all the way out along the backside of Benjamin, out to Johnson's Pond, and then along Weezy Park, and along Washington, back to Salem Street. So it's 8.6 acres total area, and what we're proposing to do is subdivide it into 4 lots. 2 lots will be located off of Salem Street, with approximately 230-foot length roadway to serve 2 1-acre lots with frontage on that new street. We'll have water and gas off of that street. These will have all these septic system designs for all 4 lots that we end up creating. And the second 2 lots are off of Washington Street. We're gonna create another small road, it's a 60-foot frontage on Washington Street. We're gonna use that to access and create a cul-de-sac to create 2 new 1-acre lots, actually they're 1.5-acre lots, off of that new cul-de-sac. So Maple Street, the wetlands is located down in this area. Maple Street is more than 200 feet away, so there's no buffer zone or impact to the wetlands on the Maple Street subdivision. So we're really filing for Oak Street, which is the 2 lots off of Washington Street. So I'm gonna go over the whole property again. This is the part of the whole along with the wetland line. This is Salem Street, Washington Street. This is the new, what we call Maple Street off of Salem Street, 2 lots. This is Oak Street off of Washington Street, sorry. Cul-de-sac and 2 lots off of that. The wetlands is in the westerly side of the property, which is along the VZ Park conservation land. Flag from A1 to A42, I believe, is the last flag. And it comes in like this, and it has a 100-foot buffer zone right here. So, the Oak Street proposed roadway and the 2 lots will have some buffer zone on it. Again, we know we're going to have to plow north and preliminary plan, so it's not advanced far enough to really plow north and at this point. What we're proposing is to use low impact design, which tries to decrease the amount of pervious area by limiting the amount of pavement we create. So we're asking the planning board for several waivers to reduce the pavement width down to 16 feet as opposed to 28, or 24 plus 2 foot plus the sidewalk, and end up being 30 feet if you do the whole subdivision roadway with full width pavement, curbing and sidewalk, you end up with 30 feet of pavement versus 16. So we're trying to limit the amount of impervious area. We've decreased the size of the turnaround cul-de-sac to something that is below the required, but still satisfies emergency access to be able to drive around it. We're also proposing to use no curbing. We're going to use pitch drainage, where we have swales on the side of the roadway to catch the runoff and treat it as it goes down around the cul-de-sac. And direct it to the middle of the cul-de-sac, we're going to put in maybe a small bioretention or retention area. We have an outlet out to the wetland side. So the proposal is basically to try to limit the amount of pervious area and to use country drainage to try to treat it without having deal with the closed drainage design. Better treatment and overall less runoff. The 2 driveways will be going through the buffer zone to get to the 2 houses. The houses themselves will be outside the buffer zone, and the septics will be outside the buffer zone. We did do perk testing on all 4 lots, and we got acceptable perks from the Board of Health. This down in here is all sandy material. Fast perks. This was a little bit slower, in the 15-minute range, which is still acceptable. That is a little slower. It's a little tighter soil up there. But you can see that Maple Street is not, the back of this lot is not even close to it's less than 100 feet to the wetlands. The buffer zone, sorry. So we're really dealing with Oak Street. This roadway will be sloped from Washington Street, 1% all the way in. So all the runoff will come down and be treated in this swales and in the small detention area program we create. So we should be able to meet stormwater management in final design. I'm approximating right now about 8,900 square feet in the buffer zone to create this roadway. It does not include the 2 lots, which have some work on the driveways. But as I heard today, it looks like we'll be filing those separately as opposed to filing. We'll file the roadway as 1 filing and 2 lots separately. Keep them separated from the subdivision itself. We do have, say, town water and gas coming in, underground electric, to service the 2 new houses on Oak Street. Name of the street may change. Apparently, there is already Oak Street in the cemetery, so we can't name it Oak Street or Maple Street.
Oh, really?
During the definitive, we would change the names, but it's pretty fun. So, if there's any questions from the board?
What is, with your new proposed smaller cul-de-sac with the drainage in the middle, what's the limit of work from the radius on the outside to A14?
I'm showing some hay bales right now, tentatively. It's about, probably within 25 feet of A14 with the hay bales we're showing.
So you're 40-ish feet to the roadway, maybe?
Yes, yeah, I'd say probably about 40, yep.
Okay.
We were gonna originally propose a Y as opposed to the circle, and try to keep it further away. Planning board didn't seem too receptive to that at first, but we can try again. They like the circle for some reason, I guess they like the turnaround.
Probably for emergency vehicles.
Yeah, the fire trucks.
The Y,
Yeah.
T-turn or Y or T-turnaround, as long as they have 42-foot long legs, they can do a design to turn around a fire truck in there. Given the fact it's only two houses, I would like to go with that design, but planning board seem to be reluctant to accept that.
Have you ever approached other towns who in the past allowed different configurations and then all of a sudden started asking for this kind of configuration?
So, how about the turnaround? Georgetown actually accepts for 2 lots, they call it court.
Yep,
They actually have a regulation that allows 2 lots to be designed with a 30-foot right-of-way. I think we actually do only 14 feet of pavement and a Y turnaround, T-turnaround, which basically looks like 2 driveways, essentially is what it looks like as opposed to a turnaround.
yep,
And they have no issue with allowing that.
yep.
When it gets to be up to 5 lots, they like the circle, when it comes to be more lots.
Because I know there's other places in town that we don't have circles,
I know.
and they're not old either.
I know that too. I guess there's been a change in opinion. I don't know, we can certainly try to address it again with the
Yep.
planning board. I would prefer to do a Y in this particular case. I think it would fit well. And be less pavement even, so.
Yeah.
Any opportunity to nudge lot 68H house so it's clearly out of the, looks like you have the corner cutting across
I
the
can
garage.
push it back. Say this is preliminary, so
Yeah.
certainly we could push it back a little bit more and get a little more room there.
I just think it makes it cleaner for us to say there's no house in there, and
It's possible the driveway can be relocated slightly to outside, a little further away. And this was sort of a preliminary to
Yeah.
get it started, get some feedback. These aren't final designs yet.
Oh. appreciate that. I just, yeah, like I said, I think it makes it cleaner for us to say there's no structure
Right.
within the, even if it's just the corner of the garage.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
might
you have to
actually
turn it
be
too.
able to get rid of this driveway if you put it over there, very little ends up in the 100-foot buffer.
Even if that gets twisted, you can go straight
Right.
in.
Right, right, that one's
This is-
pretty easy to do.
Is it, just looking at the elevation, it looks like it's 68H is fairly flat,
It is.
is that correct?
Yep.
And then 68G is flat coming off the cul-de-sac and then goes up.
Yep, there's a little elevation in
And
this area here.
it's all wooded now?
It's all wood now. And here was an old, I think it was an old farm, because there's a lot of remnants of farm equipment
Right.
and throughout the area. A few
Have-
cars.
Have you done a preliminary calculation on within the 100 feet, how many trees you're taking down and
We
a
have not.
percentage?
Hmm.
My concern in general
Yeah.
is if this goes forward, someone who's buying this is gonna wanna have much more land than than we would prefer, because they're gonna end up butting up right up against the wetlands.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
I mean, they're in the wetlands, it's just a matter of, what they start dumping in the wetlands and all that other stuff.
Right. So, let's see if there's any public comments. And then I've got a couple of questions that maybe about how we proceed. Is there any public comment? Yes.
Mine was, I told him about the water that builds up between my house and where he's gonna put Oak Street.
Yep.
Right now, we're starting to pump water from our cellar because there's a high water.
Yes.
table
Yeah.
there.
What,
I don't know if you've ever gone by that area and seen water in there.
Mm-hmm.
you're right on, what number Washington Street are you?
149, 149,
149, okay, so you're right on the edge there.
yeah. That was just our concern.
Well, so you get water in there. The law says that they can't increase the problem, but they, not necessarily that they're gonna decrease the problem, you know what I mean? So, they don't have to solve your water problem, but they certainly can't make it worse.
Right.
Is that for the same as for Maple Street too?
Yeah, any
Because
development
it
they done.
slopes, so.
See, on that
already
one,
water in the basements.
on that one, we don't really have any jurisdiction over there, because there's no wetlands over there. So,
So you don't care?
no,
No.
we can't do anything about
That's in
it.
the
But-
planning board's jurisdiction. and
That's,
they both have it.
yeah, it depends on what the planning board says. We can't say, oh, no, you can't build it, or no, you can't do it that way. We can't do anything about that one.
But the planning board does have jurisdiction on that, and they will, we have a consultant that's reviewing the plans
Yeah,
as we move forward. We do the final design and the final drainage calculations, they will do those as well, to make sure that we have regulations we cannot, cause water to
Okay,
go off-site.
Right.
Essentially, more
Right.
than it was before. So
right.
we have to make sure we. collect
yeah,
that
so
water.
under the general law, either the planning board or conservation can't allow them to do anything to negatively affect any neighbors.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
I'm Connie Colombo, I live on 147 in Washington, so I am not a butter to the road, but the proposed road. the
Yes.
road. But my concern is right now, the only thing that keeps our water table in check in that area, behind my house, behind the Foth's house, behind Carlos's house, the Santos house, are the trees.
yes,
So if they go in, and one point was made by one of the committee members, that in order to, it's a private road that's going in, it's gonna have to be privately maintained, according to the builder.
yes,
So those houses are gonna have to be fairly schmoozy houses. They're gonna want more land, they're gonna want more lawn, they're gonna want more trees taken down.
mm-hmm,
The more trees they take down, the more that creates a problem for those of us that are downhill. And I'm not just talking about my property, I'm talking about the McAllister property, mine, the Foth's, Santos.
yeah,
Also 163
Cashman's,
Washington Street.
yeah,
I'm neighbors with Allison Quinley at
Yeah.
161.
Quinley's,
Quinley and Cashman.
all of that
Yeah, that whole line along
That
there.
whole line is just gonna be in rough shape if they take down a lot of trees up there.
These properties here actually flow towards the back. It's higher on the street than it is in the back. These properties all flow towards the development, not away. This is actually flowing sort of this way. So, it's this won't affect uphill, this is uphill of the roadway.
Yeah, some of it is the water table though, Bill.
Oh, yeah, we have test pits and we know the water table, and we have to design our houses to be part of it. And obviously septic has to be a part
Mhm.
of it.
Hi, if I can speak there. My name is Matthew Eaton, I live at 163 Washington Street. I lived at 167 for 6 years before we recently bought our house at 163. The water that comes off of Dunn's Hill, that comes down, that was coming into our house, we constantly had to run a sump pump. We understand that that's the price that we paid for living at the bottom of the hill. When we bought our house next door, we were about 120 feet away from where the other fountain was. I have the same exact problem. My sump pump runs constantly. The farther I go out back to behind my property, as I walk out there, it just gets wetter and wetter and wetter. And I get to a point where I ask my children not to go out there because, as most people would know, the water table does seem to change as the weather changes with it. Sometimes we get these heavy rain seasons and it
Yep.
seems to be higher. And other times, we get those dead of summers where it seems to be drier, but it's not. It's always wet. And, most of us know that we've tried to contain the mosquito problems that happen sometimes. It's always just seems to be wet. So I'm just concerned the fact that the more trees that are gonna get cut down, the less there's gonna be to actually stop that from coming back towards my house.
Yeah,
And the second point I had was, I know he made a point about the road being smaller. If it's privately maintained, if these people aren't up on, say for instance, removal of snow, and we have one of those winters like we had the last 2 years, if there is a fire there or something happens, those emergency vehicles are gonna have a difficult time, because I know that section of road is tough to turn into sometimes. So I'm a little concerned about a couple of things, to make changes, just to make the road, a little bit easier for the neighbors, so the water doesn't run up into their properties, but yet to make it accessible for the emergency vehicles. So there was a couple of questions that I was glad that you could bring up tonight, and maybe have some answers for us.
yes, okay.
So,
Yep,
when you did the wetlands, was it by the vegetation, or did you do soil samples, and how far did you go out?
No, I looked, specifically, the first time Bill and I got out to the site, I was very careful going down where Oak Street goes in. And
Okay.
I understand this woman's concern that it's a low spot, but I looked really closely there. I used 3 parameters. I always use 3: soils, vegetation, and look at hydrologic characteristics. The soils were surprisingly quite good going into Oak Street, and there's a lot of Norway maple in there. There's some other species. It is a low spot, but the soils are good. As I got back toward the back, Bill mentioned, I agree, this is probably an old active farm. There's a plow layer. It's fairly distinct. It's a wooded swamp. The wetlands themselves is a wooded swamp. It is, as this gentleman described, it's pretty wet when you get in the actual wetlands. And then it's a broad transition slope coming up. So I looked at all 3 to answer your question. I was pretty careful with my augering and looking at what I call the apex points of my flag line, because that's usually where, you want to look and make sure that you're carrying your wetland line up these little topographical swales as it is.
So I'll throw out there right now, I'm gonna wanna see a separate independent
well,
view.
this is not
I'm just saying that because
in the future.
Right, because we had the experience on that other large parcel that ended up, I was surprised because the wetlands, I forget exactly, but it came up like another 100 to 200 feet, way beyond what anybody ever thought off of the stream. And I know everything's unique, so I'm just, my concern would be that we want to make sure we know exactly where the edge of the wetlands are,
Yep,
especially given the description, how you say it, and it being so flat.
well, and the neighbors, concerns need to be taken into account because they live there and they see it every day, whereas we don't.
Just to be clear on the, I forget who was talking about the trees, we do have very specific percentages of trees that can be cut down. The planning board also has something similar. But without going out there and actually counting the trees, and it, it's tough to say, but
Well, the bylaw says 40% of the trees within the 100-foot buffer can be cut, no more
Right.
than 40%, but, that's still significant.
we'd have to see what's out there and then see what has to come down and see if that even fits.
Any other comments?
I just had one other question.
Yes.
Were there any contingencies as far as, we moved there because we like the fact that we're close to the water and the lake and the wildlife. I've seen eagle, owls, deer come through my backyard. We enjoy it. People don't hunt there, it's conservation land, so we get to appreciate that. Did anybody look into taking account that those animals would be removed from the area for as far as, like, we might not be able to see them, they wouldn't come back if the trees are cut down, maybe nesting trees, things of that nature? Or is it one of those things that's just kind of overlooked by the planning board and it's just really not discussed?
Well, there's natural heritage, which it takes into account for, any endangered species. Other than that, there's no particular way, mandated to protect anything. And I don't believe that's in estimated habitat, right? No.
It actually is, no.
Yeah.
Across the street, actually. Yeah, it's out of both rare and endangered species habitat under the Wetlands Protection Act.
Right.
And we're not within a priority habitat under the Mass Endangered Species
Right.
Act, so.
Right. So unfortunately, there's no lawful protection of it mandated, unfortunately.
What about,
Hmm?
what about salamanders? Salamanders?
Yes. Well,
It has to be,
Certain ones, right?
we can only go by what the state says unless we can prove otherwise.
Because
So-
there is salamanders there,
Really?
yeah.
Hmm.
When we moved in, the kids used to find them.
Yeah.
And the
Is that the same
grandkids
turtles?
used to find them.
Turtles, the spotted
Pick up
turtles,
a rock and you find them.
no
right
longer
out
is a factor.
the end,
It's only certain species.
So,
but it's certain species.
yeah, what you have to do is if you think there are
Yeah.
protected species there, you have to get in touch with Natural Heritage, the state program, and say, send them a picture of it, and then they come out and look at it. Because they do like a flyover way to determine most of that habitat areas. And for some reason, that area is not habitat, even though it very well could be. What?
yeah, there's been other places in town where they've come in and they actually have a turtle program on the one off of Salem.
Yeah.
So the state does look in, but for whatever reason, they've deemed it's not on the list, or not
No.
in the area
Yeah,
right now, so.
The way it works is the state has known both rare species and endangered species habitat zones. And so to set up a regulatory framework, the state is tasked with identifying those habitats. But the reality is everybody who lives next to wetlands and Johnson Pond, whether it's a future house or whether it's your existing house, you're all responsible for looking out for any of the wetlands and wildlife species that are there. It's sort of a regulatory framework. It's a pact. If people have land and they are gonna build a house and they're outside of those rare species habitat zones, it's sort of understood that, irrespective of the Conservation Commission's concerns, those houses can be built and those wetland wildlife species will not be unduly impacted. If you're in a rare species habitat or a priority habitat, as you said, that's a different, different way of approaching a project, and somebody like me actually has to go out and do a turtle management plan during construction to protect the known species that occur on the site. So there's never any guarantee that any of you will have, won't have these species wandering through your yards, and you need to be careful, and if you're mowing your lawn, and obviously you have to look out for them.
Well, that's why we're speaking up, because we are in fact paying attention to the stewardship that we all own by living there. I mean, it sounds like you're flipping that a little bit, but.
No, I'm just suggesting
but I
that
do-
everybody's responsibility
Yes, and I
is to
understand
do
that, and
that.
I do agree with you, there, which is why we're here, because the impact of those lands, with building more houses back there, all the land around there, not just what is zoned the wetlands. And if you've lived there, I lived there for 28 years, and I do not walk back there unless it's winter time and it's frozen, and I can actually walk over the river back there and over and through all of those lands. And I walk my dog back there every single day and every single night, so I know it really well in the wintertime. You know, I mean, it's just, I can't understand how you're gonna get septic systems in there without raising the grade. I can't understand how much the grade is gonna have to go up in order for the new houses to.
How are you gonna do that?
I don't understand,
The
I
septic
don't
system.
get it. I mean, I'm not a builder, so I'm not, it just doesn't make logical sense to me, but I'm not a builder, so.
That's lot 68H in fact, right? So the
Yes.
septic tanks that they're showing are gonna have to be raised, correct? Those are gonna have to be raised above grade, which is directly behind my house. So I'll be looking at those. So instead of seeing the trees and the woods, I'll be looking at giant septic tanks.
And it's the same,
And they
Matt,
assume the water runoff will go.
And the runoff will go back towards me,
and
where it's already wet
Matt,
now.
it's the same thing behind
Yes.
my house and
And
the
Allison's,
McAllisters.
yes.
And, you know, I mean,
Yes.
it will be, that septic system is right on the downslope and
Just say something,
right on.
please. My name is Carlos Santos, I live at 157 Washington Street, I've been there for 21 years. What is the plan to grade that land there for lot 68H? Yes, and going to the wetlands, have you guys walked back there? Have you guys gone there before you decided to? Yeah, have you? Was it wet?
Yeah, I flagged wetlands back there.
It was wet, right?
Well, I delineated wetlands, correct. I delineated the boundary of the wetlands. So there's both wetlands on this property and there's upland on this property. And my job, I do wetlands and wildlife consulting. So my job was to identify where the wetland boundary was, and that is shown on this plan. So we do know there's wetlands back there.
Where the house, the proposed plan is, it's all dry land?
Yes,
It's about,
yeah, it's outside the wetland boundary.
I lived there, 21 years. It's wet.
It's not, it's wet.
Well, I mean,
Well, I know what's registered as wetlands and what's wet. It's
well,
almost
that's my
gonna be
job. I
wet.
mean, I'm a professional.
I
I look
understand
at
that.
soils, hydrology,
understand, yes, yeah.
and that's, and
Yeah,
obviously, there are other professionals, as the commission said, they get a peer reviewer, who would be a peer of mine, another wetland scientist, who would come out and overlook my line, and for the benefit of the commission and the town of Groveland, they would look at my line and say, either they agree with it or they disagree with it. So that process sounds like would be the likely path that the commission would take, and you have a right as an abutter to have a concern. You don't know me, I've never delineated wetlands on your property,
Mhm.
but I care about my reputation. I've worked in Groveland for over 30 years. I've delineated plenty of wetlands and properties in town. I'm willing to defend my work in
Yes,
the
of
field.
course, yes, yeah.
So,
I'm sure you have a test for wetlands and dry land.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is
we,
just
it's science, it's science.
Right.
So I have to apply a very scientific principle when I look at it.
Just-
What month did you
Try to
test
cut
that
it.
in? Could I ask, what month did you test that in?
Well, what was the first time we got out there? I think it was in,
Late October, early November?
yeah.
Yeah, I would suggest going back in May or April,
Right.
when it's
So,
truly.
Right.
when
So-
it's-
right, so a couple things to keep in mind, this is just a first step.
Right.
And like I said, I know if this ends up moving forward, I personally would like to see an independent peer review. I mean, we've dealt with Mr. Seecamp many, many years. I've been on the commission 14, 15 years. But just so we're comfortable with it, that an independent person working for the town agrees with the delineation.
Because as it is today, it's cold and the ground's, beginning to freeze, but it's still wet. I mean, you can walk in my yard and feel it squishing. But if you go out in May, it's gonna be much different from how it is seeming to be today.
Right, no, understood. And they, like he mentioned, they're looking at vegetation, they bore into the ground to see you'll, much better than I can, but like the stratification of the soils, and depending on whether the water is standing there all the time or whether it's just seeping through.
Correct.
But again, that's, why we hire the consultants.
Well,
So,
obviously, we agree with that. But it would seem like it would be for all of us, at least if they was testing at a time when we have the most amount of water coming into our house on just a normal basis. And I'm not even saying a heavy rain season, just in general.
Right.
The April, May months seem to be when it would probably be better to test it then, because that's when we noticed that we all seem to be agreement that you couldn't walk back there. You would, not
Right.
without having galoshes on. You'd have to be, in boots, because you'd be up to your knees in mud. So that's why I would say, if you test it in October or December, it's gonna be frozen, and it's probably gonna seem like it's a little bit harder and more solid. So I would, tend to agree that it would be further back towards, Johnson Pond.
Right, but I
the
think,
other 9 months of the year, no.
yeah, and my point about, they do go into the soil and look at the soil. So whether it's frozen or, well, when it's frozen, you can't bore in, but there is a scientific method to go through to check it. But I think we understand your concern. I mean, we have similar concerns.
So,
Given
so you look back there, right, and it's all wet,
Water,
right?
yes, sir.
And you say, how on earth could somebody build a house there, right? So explain to us this phenomenon, why it's wet, but it's not necessarily wetlands.
Well, I mean,
Don't know when they're
I look at, to this gentleman's point, I look at wetlands all year round.
Yep.
And so part of what I have to do is I have to determine a wetland boundary in all different seasons. And I don't just look at wetlands in the fall. I often am out in May, June, July. I also delineate wetlands in August and early September, when the groundwater table is at its lowest point. And most of the wetlands I'm walking in, I have a pair of low-cut boots, sometimes even a pair of sneakers, and clients can't believe that I'm standing in a wetland. They say, but there's no water here. Well, the flip side of that is, in the fall, when the leaves come off and your groundwater table starts to rebound, you have your highest groundwater tables in the fall. And that continues until just before the growing season, when the leaves come out and your evapotranspirative rate picks up again. So I'm trained to look at wetlands in all seasons, all years. And as the commissioner said, I look at the soil profile, which tells me, based on soil color and evidence of what we used to call modeling, right? Rose, now it's redoxamorphic features, $10 word there, but that tells me where that water table is, even if it's not there. I mean, in August, it may be powder dry, and I can't even get the soil to stick to my auger, and I have to bring a well out to spray it to get the colors correctly. But there's a methodology to looking at that soil profile that tells me where the groundwater table is, and that tells me if it's within 24 inches during the growing season, chances are, if I have the evidence, it's a wetland, whether it looks wet or not. So I do take that into consideration, and we've had in southern New Hampshire, where I live, in Exeter, we've had over 5 inches of rain in the last 5 days. And so as soon as we get a 1/4 inch of rain, the groundwater table is right there, right at the surface. And I suspect that's what you're seeing today out there, is that we have a high groundwater table right now, which is a little above average for this time of year because of the precipitation that we've been getting this fall. But then, this area, okay, has evidence, no evidence of hydric soils, no evidence of water table that would drive a wetland plant community or a wetland community during the growing season. During the off-growing season, your groundwater table can be up high. That's how it happens, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
You know, your groundwater table can come up into that top surface layer. The way it drives the development of a wetland community, which is the plants, not just the soil profile, is it's gotta be up high enough, long enough for the wetland species who like their feet wet and have adapted to wet conditions versus things like red oak and sugar maples and some of your black birch. They tend to like their feet dry, so to speak, so they're adapted to growing in the upland conditions. So it's a pretty dynamic system, but again, I literally have had clients argue with me, how can this be a wetland? It's not, there's no water here, the soils are dry. Well, that's not the way it works. I mean, I have to look at these things. I work 12 months a year delineating wetlands.
Sure.
The only thing that shuts me down is a foot or two of snow, and I can't see
Well,
the micro-topographic areas.
And then the counter argument is, this area is wet, why isn't it a wetland, which is this case?
Well, that's because the regulations say, is it a wetland? You can have wet yards, you can have wet basements. I have a wet basement, I have a wet yard. I don't have wetlands on my property. I still have a wet basement, I have a high groundwater table, and I have a wet yard. It's not wet enough, long enough to drive a wetland plant community and create wetlands.
Mm-hmm.
So there's, the top of Easy Hill is very dry. The bottom of the sledding hill, right at the base, is pretty wet.
Right,
And so, and neither of those two are wetlands.
right.
So,
Okay, so that's from a wetland point of view, but now from an engineering point of view, again, these folks are looking out in their backyards and it's wet. Seems to be wet 9 months out of the year. From an engineering point of view, how are you going to build houses there? Are you gonna build it up?
Yeah, I mean, we did soil testing here, I believe the water table was about 3 feet, 3.5 feet. So yes, those will be raised systems, probably raise the foundation, or bring fill in and create the yard around the house. I suspect, likely these houses along here were done the same way. They were probably filled in from the road, and then, I don't recall if this is exactly what it looks like, but take a look. You can usually tell when they've been filled in, because they slope off pretty quick, because back in the day, they didn't bring a lot of fill in, they just brought what they needed in to build the house, around the house. As far as what they're seeing for wetness, I don't know what they're seeing. I mean, I haven't seen it. So I was out there many times, and I didn't see wetness in these areas, or in this area, or certainly not in this area. And there's plenty of slope here, the water's gonna flow right off, there's no way. This is flatter, I agree, but it's still sloping down, and maybe some micro pockets out there? Yes, could be. Could be some puddles, I mean, I see puddles in my yard, I'm on top of a hill, but I have poor soil. This is good soil, this is actually all sand, this is all sand. So I know this drains well after it stops raining, it drains pretty well.
And are you saying the removal of the trees is gonna help that? It's gonna it's gonna bring less water to the table, so taking the trees out is gonna make it even less watery, right? Because the trees aren't gonna be there anymore to soak up the water, they're gonna be removed. So the water that now comes up, that the trees aren't drinking, is gonna go where? Back to the lake?
It's still on the ground, it's gonna.
Oh, it's gonna go back, and maybe come underground to our house, maybe come up underneath our basements.
This is lower than your house. This is lower than your house. Water can flow uphill.
It does, it can flow uphill, it can actually move up, yeah, you can actually move under the ground.
Yes.
Secondary mountain.
When you said you want to raise the grade and build a foundation a little higher, there's a reason for that, because it's wetland, right?
No,
That's the
because
reason
the
for
water's
that.
here.
Okay, fine, water table.
We have to be a foot above the water.
Where is the water, the runoff from those homes going to?
Where's the runoff?
Yes.
From these homes? I mean, this way.
What about the other way?
It's higher.
No, no,
Why
no,
does it not flow
it's
uphill?
lower. I live there, I know it.
That's lower than this? No.
Well, if you're gonna raise, if you're going to raise
They-
that
It's gotta be higher than ours.
68H, right? You're gonna have to raise it, right?
Okay.
So the one that goes from that side towards Washington Street, what is it going to?
What,
My backyard,
this
right?
side with Washington?
Yes.
It's gonna go around the house.
So they'll,
Go
so
back into the lake.
I build for a living, so don't tell me that, please.
they have to make sure, like Mike was saying before, whether it's, you know, Maple Court is under planning board jurisdiction, then the wetlands are us.
Okay.
They have to make sure they're not bringing water to anybody else's property. So whenever they come with a final plan of whatever, I mean, it's a valid concern, they have to make sure that they're not dumping water on your property.
The street there, but you look at the street, I believe you need about 60 feet for the street, right? 60 feet?
The frontage is 60 feet.
60 feet, right? So if I decide to put a 6-foot fence there, right?
What's that?
If I decide to put up a fence on my line,
Mhm.
and one decides to put a fence there, how are you cleaning your snow there within that snow?
60 feet?
Yeah. Where's the snow going to?
And go to the side of the
The
road.
street or the inside?
Hmm?
Where's the snow going to?
It's gonna go to the side of the street.
The side of the street, there won't be much side there.
60 feet minus 16, it leaves us 36 feet, 46 feet, so 44 feet. And we have swales on either side. We're gonna create little pitches on each side of the roadway so the water will flow
Oh,
back
you want, okay, all right.
to back.
I don't know yet what you guys want to do yet there, so. Okay.
I mean, there's plenty of room. There's a good 20 feet from the road to the property line. 60 feet is,
The width,
60 minus
the width of
16.
the street, the width. You got 62 feet there, I think. Is it 62 feet right there?
correct, 60 feet wide.
So you need 60.
I don't need 60, I need 16.
Oh, 16.
Yeah, the street's gonna be,
Wide roadway.
Yeah, well, yeah,
the roadway's
There's a lot of
16.
room on either
60.
side.
I was thinking, yeah, that-
Yeah.
Quite a bit of room inside.
yeah, okay. I'm more concerned about that lot back there.
So the traditional cul-de-sac and this new special one, that has still not been approved or
No, it's
discussed,
still
but
in-
it's still in the,
This is
That
a,
meeting with the planning board. in 2
right,
weeks.
okay.
this is the first step. They
Right.
just have to file with conservation, that's what planning asked them
Ask
to
them,
do.
right.
Right, they're looking
So,
for
but they're still gonna-
feedback,
Right, they're still gonna
feedback.
have to file a notice of intent.
So is planning board expecting an official document from us?
Yeah, we'll write a letter,
It
like
just
we
say-
did for Billis.
Right,
We wrote a letter with all the feedback.
and just said that this is what we're asking them to do. They're going to
Okay.
end up filing a notice of intent for whatever Oak Street is, going to be called after. And if you also want to hire a consultant, and you probably wanna take a site walk out there.
So, does anyone else have any questions on the commission? Okay, so, basically, we've got a lot of information here, probably plenty of feedback to provide to the applicant. We could postpone and go out there, but I don't know what you think.
I mean, it's not a definitive plan.
No, right.
Right. This is-
I mean, we could, you know,
I mean, we can basically say tonight, we want them to file a notice of intent, and
if,
we can provide a bunch of feedback based on the neighbors'
yeah, and our own.
input and our input.
concerns, yeah.
Yes, and also say that chances are when they file, we'll be asking for our own consultant, just to give them that guideline.
Yep.
And I'd like to ask for separate notice of intents for them.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
two,
right, so that would be
Well,
another thing we'd
It's
put
the
in
lots
there.
and then the road would be separate, right? Or how do we?
Yeah, probably the
Two
two
lots.
houses would be each a notice of intent for
And then the
those, and then
road.
the
And then the road.
roadway,
Okay.
yeah.
Because they're both very invasive. Or they're all three very invasive.
Okay.
So we're happy with that?
Yeah.
Would you like to do a site, we wouldn't mind doing a site walk if you'd like to see the site and review the line, take a look at what's going on out there.
Seems premature. but-
Premature,
Well,
Because
we're,
they're not filing a notice of intent yet.
right.
Considering the time of year, it would be a little harder to do it in a couple months,
I mean,
right?
If they want to see it.
I guess, I'd gladly go out, but I reserve the right to go out again.
Oh, yeah,
When the final, I mean,
But I mean, right now, there's no snow. I mean,
Yeah.
you come back in a month or month and a half, who knows, we not see anything out there until spring. So at least we get a view of it, at least.
It might give you an opportunity to see it and then express your concerns to the peer reviewer of what areas you'd like to
Okay.
concentrate on.
So I'll ask the neighbors, is it wet out there now, significantly wet, that you're very concerned about?
So,
It's getting colder,
It
so
has been
it's
raining, so.
It's just rain.
it's raining.
Yeah,
It's also cold, so.
yeah. Okay.
That's not bad.
I mean,
So when
I
are you going back
suppose-
to the planning board?
2 weeks. Weeks from yesterday.
but it's still a preliminary
Still
plan.
preliminary, yeah, but it's
So they have to
preliminary.
file
We just
it.
got the results of the consultant's comments, so we can respond to those.
So do you want to do Saturday?
Might as well, I mean, we're out, just do a first blush and,
And I would like it if as many neighbors come and show us about some of these concerns. I mean, I have my concerns, but it sounds like they've got a lot of input to provide. All right, so we'll do a site walk, and then we'll have to close out on December 12th and issue our decision on the RDA. So, let's see, Billis Way, what do you think, an hour there?
I think we want an hour back, Phyllis.
Phyllis? Will you be there, Rose?
No, I will not.
Oh, gee.
we've,
I think Phyllis, yeah, I think
Hour.
no more than an hour, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
Yeah, I
look
mean,
at-
it's an easy line to walk.
yeah,
Unless you really want to get down inside the gully.
yeah,
And then it'll take a little more time, but that's where the fun is, quite
Right.
frankly.
right.
So,
I've been out there, so
yeah,
I know.
I'd say an hour.
Yeah. All right, so that's at 8, so I'd say, just to be on the safe side, we'll say 9:30 for this. By the
Eight.
time,
So by the time we get back up, yeah, that's fine, yeah, that'll work.
okay, and, let's see, where's the best place to meet there?
That's a tough one, hard enough.
We could-
I ended up parking part
we
of
could
my
almost-
sidewalk just to get off the road.
park at DZ and walk back, you know, where the sledding is.
Yeah,
Park at the
right.
bottom of the
we could-
sledding hill?
Park right
Yeah.
on Mary Lee Lane if you want to, and then just come straight.
Yeah.
across.
Park.
I'd be happy for you to come through my yard.
Right at the park.
You can park along Washington.
I had to pull
All right,
onto the
so-
sidewalk.
So we'll meet at that, right at the
Entrance.
entrance there of the proposed Oak Street. Walk in that way, wear boots. And public invited, that's okay? I think it's valuable to get their input. Okay, so that's at 9:30 on Saturday.
This Saturday.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll motion to continue this hearing to December 12th. Any questions on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Abstain, oppose, okay. All right. Thanks, everybody, for your input. Sure you don't want to come? We'll pay you.
I actually have something else going on.
No, that's okay, that's okay. See if you can find for me our site visit notes, though, that day you and I were out there. I want to, because I don't remember what, but I remember some of the flags.
I can pull it up tomorrow.
Yeah,
That was on Billis, right? You guys have never been to this?
yeah.
Yes, yeah.
I've been out there, but not when it was flagged.
Yeah, on Billis.
I've been to Billis, but I've never been on this one when
This
it's been flagged.
Oh, okay.
I've been out there, but not when it's been flagged. And Fred's right next door, and he knows what's going on out there.
No, I was,
Yes, I know, it's very wet.
I'm amazed.
We haven't adjourned yet, right?
So we still have 299 Main, or did they not?
No, that was done.
That was the one you did.
Wait, we didn't.
We're done?
You did that one.
You did, you were,
Oh, right.
what, didn't you
forgot
take
it
any
already.
notes? Too busy to take notes?
I wanted to ask her, like, what are they gonna do there? Because I know it was sold, but I'm like,
What,
you can't park there, you know, like I.
All right, great.
what did you say, it was pants?
What?
Mike was saying it was pants,
Yeah, pants,
which,
internet business.
Oh, well, that you could, if you just have a bunch of servers and stuff or
Yeah,
whatever you're
right.
doing.
Well,
Okay.
I don't know. All right, any other, I don't think we have any other items. I think we're all set, right?
No, did you see the way Tom compartmentalized number 3 there like that? You should be chair.
Well, first of all, make a motion to close the hearing portion of the meeting at 9:30.
second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Can I make a motion to close the meeting?
To adjourn?
To adjourn, that's it. I make a motion.
It's so late, you didn't know what
to-
you wanted to ask for,
To
right?
adjourn at 9:31.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Wow.
I think this is,
So you're gonna eat more than boots there on Saturday.
Yeah, I know. Get your waiters.
Waiters, sticks. We can make it. I might bring my kayak.
we have a couple of times.
We've come
Steve,
close.
You might not have been here, but we have come.
Oh, I know.